Welcome to the Eat This Book podcast. I'm Michael Whitworth. Each day we take a small piece of scripture and we sit with it. Not a quick snack that disappears before lunch, not a chore you check off of a list, but rather a meal meant to be savored. So pull up a chair. Let's eat. When Christopher Wren died in 1723, they buried him inside St. Paul's Cathedral, the building he had designed and spent 35 years constructing. Above his tomb, a Latin inscription reads, "Reader, if you seek his monument, look around you." The architect resting inside his own architecture, the Creator surrounded by his creation. The writer of Hebrews says something far more staggering about the sun. He didn't just design the building, he is the reason it exists at all. We're still unpacking the opening sentence of Hebrews, a sentence that refuses to slow down. The Son is God's final word. The Son is heir of all things. And now this, He is the one through whom God created the world. The phrase is deceptively simple, through whom He also made the ages. Most English translations render that last word as the world, but the Greek says something broader. It's not just the physical universe, the dirt and stars and oceans, it's the ages, the epochs, the entire framework of time and history. God didn't just make matter through the sun, He made Monday mornings and the fall of Rome and the moment you were born. The sun stands behind everything that exists and everything that happens. This is not a new idea in the New Testament, but it's a breathtaking one every time it surfaces. John opens his gospel with the same claim. All things were made through Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. Paul tells the Colossians that by Him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. The early church kept returning to this truth because it restructured everything. The Son wasn't a created being who later received a promotion. He was present at the foundation, active in the making, woven into the fabric of reality from the first moment there was a fabric to weave. The word through carries weight here. The Father creates through the Son. The Son is the agent, the means, the one through whom divine intention becomes material reality. It's the language of partnership within the Godhead, a glimpse into how the Trinity operates. The Father wills, the Son enacts, and the Spirit, well, as Genesis 1 tells us, the Spirit hovers over the raw material, bringing order from chaos. But here's where Hebrews is doing something the writer's audience desperately needed to hear. This letter was written to Jewish Christians under pressure, people tempted to drift back to the familiar structures of the Old Covenant. The angels mediated the law at Sinai. Moses built the tabernacle. The priests offered sacrifices. Those were magnificent realities. So why trade them for a crucified Messiah the neighbors mocked? The writer's answer begins here. Because the Son outranks everything. He isn't one voice among many. He is the one through whom the voices have a world to echo in. Moses served faithfully inside a house he didn't build. The angels worship within a creation they didn't make. The Son made the house. He made the angels. He made the ages in which all of Israel's history unfolded. To go back to the old structures while bypassing the Son is to prefer the building over the architect. And then there's the implication that ripples beneath the surface. If the Son made the ages, if every epoch of history is His handiwork, then He is not a stranger to your moment. The era you live in, with its particular pressures and technologies and griefs, is not outside His craftsmanship. He didn't make the first century and then step away. The ages, all of them, are His, including this one, including yours. This also means the Son who entered human history in Bethlehem was not entering foreign territory. He was stepping into something He had made. The carpenter from Nazareth who shaped wood with his hands had already shaped the cedars of Lebanon, the mountains they grew on, and the tectonic forces that raised those mountains from the sea. The Creator became a creature, not because He was forced into it, but because the world He made was the world He intended to redeem. Here's what I think we should savor from this passage. The Son is not a latecomer to the story. He was there before there was a there. Before Abraham, before Adam, before light separated from darkness, the Son was the means by which the separating happened. Whatever you think of Jesus, Hebrews won't let you consider him a great teacher who arrived in the middle of history. He made the middle. He made the beginning. Creation is personal. The ages were not assembled by impersonal forces or blind mechanics. They were crafted through a person, the same person who would later weep at a tomb, wash feet with a towel, and break bread with his friends. The universe has a personal signature. The Maker entered the Made. The truth is so familiar to Christians that it can lose its force, but sit with it. The one through whom every star was spoken into being let himself be born in a feeding trough, in a province, under an empire, inside time itself, the very time he had made. The architect buried, in a sense, inside his own cathedral, except he chose to be there. If you look at the world and see only randomness, particles bouncing off each other in an indifferent void, Hebrews offers you a different lens. The ages have an author. The story has a through line, even when the chapter you're living feels incoherent. The Son who made the ages is not confused by yours. If you feel small, dwarfed by the scale of the universe or the enormity of headlines you can't control, the same Son who holds the ages chose to enter one specific life in one specific place. Smallness is not insignificance. The Creator of the ages was once small enough to be held in a woman's arms. If you're a maker yourself, an artist, a builder, a parent shaping a home, you carry an echo of this verse in your work. To create is to reflect the Son's own nature. Your making matters, not because it's permanent, but because it participates in something the Son has been doing since before time had a name. If you're watching something you built fall apart, a marriage, a ministry, a career you poured yourself into, the Maker of the ages knows what it costs to watch your handiwork suffer. He made a world that rebelled against him. He didn't abandon it. He entered into it. If the Christian faith has started to feel like a small thing to you, a private belief, a weekend habit, a corner of your life that doesn't connect to the rest, this verse explodes those walls. The Son, through whom the ages were made, is not a niche interest. He is the reason there are interests at all. He is the reason there is anything. Next time on Eat This Book, what does God actually look like? Hebrews gives a stunning answer. The Son is the radiance of His glory, not a reflection, but a direct beam. Join me again in Hebrews 1 as we discover how the unapproachable God has come near. Thanks for eating with me. Until next time, may the Word dwell in you richly.